Very sorry to inform some of you if this is the first time you're going to be hearing about it, but the Kotor Remake is delayed indefinitely, which means delayed forever. Which basically means it's canceled. Unless they find new directors and restart the game, I guess, from scratch or whatever is going to happen. But if they're saying it this bluntly and this blatantly, I mean, it just doesn't look good. The Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake is indefinitely delayed. Bloomberg has learned. Developer Aspyr abruptly fired 2 directors this month and told staff that the project is on pause as it tries to figure out what comes next. That's not good, man. This far in the game is really not a good idea. I mean, this was announced pretty recently. I mean, this was announced not too long ago, what, like 6 months ago or so? And it's quite unfortunate that, they had a whole team ready to go. They were kind of boosting the game quite a bit. They had an entire office of people, and a lot of people were passionate about making this game. And we saw the promos that they were making for it, essentially just the developers talking about the game. And now people have been canceled. They've been fired. So I don't know what the reason is as to why they've been fired. Perhaps we can learn something here from the actual article. The game was announced last September and has been in development for nearly 3 years at Aspyr, which was purchased by Sweden's Embracer Group AB last year. On June 30th, Aspyr finalized a demo of the game known as a vertical slice to show production partners at Lucasfilm and Sony Group Core. The developers were excited about it and felt like they were on track, according to a person familiar with the project, so they were shocked by what happened next. The following week, the company fired design director Brad Prince and art director Jason Minors. Dude, art director? That means like the whole game is just going to look differently now because they're going to have to get a new art director in. Neither responded to requests for comment. That's not good, but Minor suggests on a social media page that his dismissal was unexpected. Representatives for Aspyr and Embracer didn't immediately respond to requests for comment. Aspyr studio heads told staff that the vertical slice wasn't where they wanted it to be and that the project would be paused. So they had all this time for all these years, and now they're realizing that it's not where they want it to be. So Eclipse is basically on hold. KOTOR is now basically on hold. Hopefully we get Jedi Fallen Order 2 still. I mean, like, what's going to happen with that? Why are constant Star Wars projects falling through? Why are people being constantly fired? If these are the wrong people that they're hiring in the first place, then do a better screening process and don't hire people that shouldn't be working on the project. If you guys have a different vision, or perhaps they want to follow, I don't know, a vision that isn't in line with yours, then you should maybe talk about those things in the beginning of 3 years and maybe figure it all out. We don't have time to keep doing these sort of firings constantly and rehirings where the story goes in a completely different direction, for let's say, or now it's going to look completely different because there's going to be different creative minds at work. This is what happened with the sequel trilogy, where things were just not really planned out, and now it's happening with our games. And I'm not really happy about this. This is a game that was really important to a lot of people, including myself, and I would have loved to have been playing it sooner than later, and now it looks like we don't even know when later is, if later is going to even happen. So this is probably going to go on their back burner for a bit until they figure out what's going on, which is really unfortunate because this was a game that so many fans, original fans, prequel fans, sequel fans, no matter what, were all excited about and brought us all together. And to have this kind of news is pretty unfortunate. Aspyr studio heads told staff that the vertical slice wasn't where they wanted it to be and that the project would be paused, according to 2 people who were in the meeting. One person familiar with the discussion suggested that a disproportionate amount of time and money had gone into the demo and that the project's current course wasn't sustainable. Another point of contention may be the timeline. At the outset of development, Aspyr told staff and partners, no, see, this is bullshit, because if it's the timeline, then you just say, hey, look, we need more time. You don't fire your 2 head people. So clearly there's something going on that they're not telling us.
I know there are things about the Force that they're not telling me.
Another point of contention may be the timeline. At the outset of development, Aspyr told staff and partners it would release the game by the end of 2022, according to 2 people familiar with the production. Dude, developers said a more realistic target now would be 2025. More realistic target would be 2025, so most likely later than that even. 2026, 2027. The fate of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remains unclear. In May, Embracer announced that Saber Interactive... Okay, if something is supposed to be released within the next, 4 months, if it's going to be released at the end of 2022, 5 months, it's pretty much August now. How the hell does that mean that it now is going to be released 3 years later, and that's at best. So probably like 4 or 5 years later. That doesn't make any sense to me. If it has 5 months to be finished, then that means the game is pretty much done. But if they spent, I don't know, man. I don't get it. Look, I am all about having a game that works well and quality, but if they're going ahead and firing people that have been working on the project for what I deem is quite a while, that doesn't really make much sense. I mean, couldn't they just say, look, we're going to go in a different direction here? So either they themselves, the heads, had a different direction that they wanted to go with, that the art director and the other guy were like, nope, we're not going to do that. Either for good, either for bad. I don't really know, because we're not getting the full information here. But at the end of the day, all we got to take away from this is that KOTOR is not happening for the next several years, and we don't even have a definitive date yet. It's unfortunate this stuff keeps happening. It happened with Solo, you know, where they fired many of the writers, good or bad reason, don't know why, and the directors, and then started up all pretty much at the end again from scratch with Ron Howard. I think there's some sort of a lack of leadership somewhere where these things are happening far too often. Once or twice, okay, but when it's happening all the time with projects, I just don't think it's a really good look, and it just shows a lack of preparation, a lack of care, and a lack of understanding of what the fundamental outline of this game or show or story should be, and I think it should be taken a little bit more seriously so that we as the fans keep paying their bills and keep consuming their products happily. Anyways, I'm upset. I'm pretty annoyed. I'm not happy about this. I'm sure many of you are not as well. Sound off in the comments. Let me know how you feel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, remember, the Force will be with you always.
It's not the Jedi way.
Oh, all of a sudden you care about the Jedi way. Son, when I say go.
Okay, Dad.
Father! It's not the Jedi way. No!
Okay, son, we did it. Let's head back to our timeline, to a better timeline. I can't wait to see Padme.
But won't that mean I'm a completely different person in the future? Because you just changed the...
Shh.